friends. Welcome to episode 171, I think, maybe, of the Quirky Monday Craftcast. My name is Kalisha, and you can find me anywhere online as Nadira Tany. It has been a full 3 months at least since my last podcast. This is the first video of 2024, so welcome. Today's also March 1st, so there's that. I just push record because if I don't push this record button now, I don't know when it's gonna happen. I wrote show notes, so hopefully, we can get through this. I always have a filming motivation lull after Vlogmas. I don't think I've ever gone 2 full months without filming or uploading on here. But yet here we are. Let's just get into the podcast, and we're gonna talk. We're gonna chit chat. We're gonna show some fibery things. If you are new, welcome to the crazy, evidently. And if you're returning, thank you so much for still being here. And let's just talk about some crafty things. So we'll get started with some admin bits. The first thing that I want to talk about is our bright spots. So bright spots are a part of the podcast where I share good things that have happened to our community. Since it has been so long since the last podcast, I'm not even going to go back to see what bright spots were posted on that one, because if I stop recording this, the motivation is gone, the momentum is gone. We're trying to keep it rolling. So I'm going to share a couple bright spots that have happened to me. First, last Saturday, was my birthday. I'm 38 years old now. Woo! It was also my mom's birthday, so happy birthday to Quirky Mommy. It was also the Out of the Darkness Walk, which is a suicide awareness and prevention walk/fundraiser that I've participated in for the last 6 years now. We always do fundraising for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention that runs the walk, and I'm very happy that we reached our goal. Our team goal was $1,000, and I think we went maybe $100 or $200 over that, exceeding that. So that's really great. If you would like to donate, the donate link is still open. I will put it in the down bar, so that if you want to donate, you still can. Yeah, those are my 2 bright spots. Had a birthday, and then on the same day was able to walk in the Suicide Prevention and Awareness Walk, which is a cause that's very, very important to me. The other admin bit is just an update on our make-alongs. So every November through December, I host the Mr. Grinch Mal. Last year, I was just really not on top of my hosting game. So the Mr. Grinch Mal, while there were participants, it was way quieter than it has been in the past. So thank you to anyone who did participate in the Mr. Grinch Mal. I appreciate you for being there with me when I was not there for myself. But we also have the Pisces season make-along that's going on now. It started on February 18th, which was the beginning of Pisces season this year, and it goes until March 19th, which is the end of Pisces season. Again, because I have been so ghost mode, I think I'm just going to extend it to the end of March. So anyone who would like to participate can definitely jump in. Here are the rules and regulations, quote, which are really, really loose. If you would like to participate in the Pisces season make-along, the qualifications for your project it can be a whip, but it must be less than 50% completed, at the beginning of the make-along. The primary colors must be blues or greens. Those are your Pisces watery colors. You can use patterns that are like Pisces or marine animal water themed kind of patterns, or of course you can use those watercolors, and any art form is accepted. So if you are wanting to do something like non-yarny, go for it. For the Pisces season make-along, we do have one person who reached out to me saying that they would like to donate a prize. So I will do a random drawing of anyone who has participated in the Pisces season make-along on Instagram at the end of the make-along, and I'll be reaching out to that person to get their contact information so that prize can be sent to them. The hashtag for the Pisces season make-along is Pisces season MAL 2024. I really love following the hashtag every year so that I can see the things that y'all are creating. It gives me so much joy. But yeah, that's it for our admin bits. So let's jump into finished objects. So I lost my notebook where I was keeping my other show notes. So I don't know what was in progress in the last video, the last podcast or anything. So we're kind of starting fresh in a sense. Like these are finished objects that I know that I finished in like since December. Excuse me. Okay, side note. I don't know if I need to go to a chiropractor or what's going on. I probably do need to go to a chiropractor, but I feel like my shoulders are on crooked because whenever I wear shirts, which is all the time because I always wear clothes, but they always like slide over to the side like this. So I end up having to like fix them. And then they're like, this particular one is like coming forward. And is it my hair? Is my hair pulling my shirt all kinds of weird ways? But I have on a Grinch sweatshirt. But I don't know what's up with that. But it's so annoying. So if I'm fidgeting with my clothes a lot, that's what's going on. It's slip and slide. I don't know why my clothes just can't sit still. Anyway, finished objects. In no particular order, just the order that I wrote them down on this book. So the first finished object that I have, I know that I started this in the beginning of fall time because I wanted to make a sweater that was like, that was orange. It was fall color. So I made the Trelawny top without, was it Trelawny? Yes, I made the Trelawny top without the color work. And I used Loops and Threads Wool-like in the pumpkin spice colorway. Also, the Trelawny top is a pattern by Tamy Gore. It is my favorite, or my current favorite, top-down sweater pattern. I do a slight modification. This is the modification that I do. Editing Kalisha, help us sister out. But by starting with the size up on my neckline, it gives me the space that I like because I don't want it to be too close in. So it gives me a nice wide neck. And then I think it's one increase that gets me to the stitch count for the size that actually fits my bust. Then I knit the yoke as prescribed, like as written in the pattern. And then for the body, I knit straight for 14 inches, and then I do the ribbing. So I really enjoyed knitting this sweater using the Wool-like. Wool-like is a acrylic fingering weight that Michaels used to have. I don't think they sell it anymore because I haven't seen it in quite a while, but if you can get some on D-Stash, I really like it. I've knit one other sweater using the Wool-like yarn, and which is why I knew that I would really enjoy the lightness that it gives. So yeah, I will definitely be knitting additional tops out of my stash of loops and threads wool-like. Is there anything else I want to say about that? The only thing, the only thing with that top that I'm kind of about is the bind off that I did on the sleeves, because I just did a regular bind off, like passing the stitch over the knit one. There's like no stretchy yarn overs or anything in it. I just did it regularly, but on a larger needle, and it's still a little bit tight around my arm. So part of me thinks that I might go back, pick out that bind off, and do an actual stretchy bind off. I'm not sure. We'll see what future Kalisha wants to do about that. I really like with the Trelawny top that I have been able to nail down the way that I like to knit it. So I know for sure it's going to take me 2 skeins. Like if I'm doing, you know, like fingering weight sock yarn, right? It's going to take me 200 grams of the fingering weight sock yarn to knit that sweater to the length that I like without the color work. So it makes a really, really nice basic tee. So really like it. The next thing that I want to tell you guys about is the Christmas cookie sweater that I knit in December. I think I finished it in January, maybe. But yes, I definitely finished it in January because I was still working on it on Christmas. So this is another thing. I was in Joann. I'm always in Joann, but I was in Joann, and their like in-house brand of acrylic worsted weight yarn is Big Twist. And they had like special colorways for Christmas. And there was this one called, I think it was called Christmas Cookie Sprinkle or something. It was a white yarn with red and green speckles in it. And I got 1 skein like a crazy person, 1 skein. And I decided that I was going to knit it was going to be a tank top, I think. And I don't remember the pattern I decided to do for the tank top, but I got to about, the pattern that I was following was knit bottom up. So I got to about 12 or 13 inches and was like, I'm going to definitely run out of yarn. Actually, it was before that I realized I was going to run out of yarn. But when I got to about 12 or 13 inches, I decided that I was going to switch gears. And instead of doing a tank top, I was just going to do a bottom up pullover. And I was going to do, as you can see in the picture, I did the Christmas cookie sprinkle at the bottom, and then did some color work to like blend the colors together, and then completed the rest of the sweater in a solid red. That pattern was a pattern that I saved from way back when the app Bellish was, or the website Bellish was alive. So before they went under, I generated a lot of basic sweater patterns. So I followed the instructions for the bottom up worsted weight drop shoulder pullover. So I did short sleeves, as you can see in the picture. I did the short sleeves, and it worked out really well. I wore it to work and got a lot of compliments on it. It's so cozy. I love it. And I'm glad that I was able to shift gears in the middle of that project. I do want to go back and make the tank top though. It was the main character top by Shanakay Salmon. And I do want to go back and make that. And since Florida is starting to warm up, I will definitely have ample opportunity to wear it. So I want to go back and revisit that that pattern. But that was my Christmas cookie sweater. My original challenge was to make that top in, I think I had like a week and a half, and absolutely failed on that. But I'm glad that I didn't give up on the pattern or the project, and I'm glad that I shifted gears to make it into, a pullover, because I felt like it would be more wearable than the direction it was going as a tank top. Because I remember, for whatever reason, it was huge and baggy, like way bigger than I thought it would be. So it was definitely me measuring wrong and not knowing the size of my actual physical body. But I'm glad I made it work. The next little finished object is another one that I'll have pictures of. Is my Advent Granny Square purse. So during December, I did an Advent calendar swap with a person on Instagram. Like, they reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do a swap with them. So we did a 12-day swap, and she sent me these little balls of acrylic yarn, and I was trying to figure out something to make with them because I had 12, and it wasn't enough to make like a garment or like an accessory. I guess I could have made like a cowl or a hat. No, I have too much hair for that. But I could have made like a cowl, but Florida. So what I decided to do was crochet granny squares, using all of the Advent minis as the beginning of the granny square, and wherever that yarn ended, I would attach a cream yarn and finish that round and then do another additional round, so that they were all kind of bordered with that cream. And then I was thinking, okay, maybe I can make like a pillow. And I was like, no, I don't want to have like a random pillow. And then I was like, well, maybe I can make it into like a little blanket for Tootie, because she loves to lay on my crochet things. And I was like, no, it's not big enough to be like a good blanket for Tootie. So maybe I can make it into a little purse or a tote bag, but your girl does not need any more tote bags. So I joined all of the pieces together into a rectangle. And as I was like folding it and thinking and stuff, I noticed these wooden purse handles that I've had for literal years. I've at least had these things for 9 or 10 years. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I had them when I lived in Huntsville. But I noticed them and I was like, okay, so I could do like a little purse. And I know that I don't need any more purses, but I was like, I really don't have any other ideas for what to use these, 12 squares for. So I ended up making this purse, and I lined it. I didn't want to get my sewing machine out or anything, so I sewed the lining in with like a sharp yarn needle and yarn. And I was just like, okay, well, I guess we're done with that. And then I think the weekend after I finished it, or a couple weekends after I finished it, my cousin came into town, and she's also a crocheter. She actually taught me how to make granny squares. So I decided I was going to ask her if she wanted the purse, and she loved it. So I was able to give that purse to her, which was really like a full circle moment in my head. I don't even know if she remembers teaching me how to make granny squares, because it was like when we were little. But I just thought it was really cool to be able to give her something that I learned to do from her so many years ago. But I am glad that I got to use 2 of those handles. I still have 2 more. So they're going to go back into the stash to one day be used, hopefully not in another 10 years. But we did that. I also put all of my Advent minis for the my crochet memories blanket. So what I do for Advent every year is during Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted, which generally happens around Thanksgiving time, or November for anyone who's not American Thanksgiving celebrating. But for Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted, I always wish for fingering weight minis so that I can build my own Advent calendar in December. And this year, one of the people who granted my wish actually sent me a full, like 24, I think it was 25 days because I have one extra, a full 25-day Advent of like 5 to 7 gram mini skeins. So what I did with all of those, I added those into my crochet memories blanket. And I think they were 5 gram minis because my squares take about 7 grams to finish. So in each square, I crocheted the Advent yarn and then attached the sparkly white yarn to finish out the square. So I have 2 rows of my Advent yarns, which I love. I'll see if I can put a picture in. I think I have a full picture of my blanket. Ta-da! So that was really fun, and I'm glad I finished that. Then the next thing that I do with the 20 gram minis that I wish for, I make them into my 24-day Advent for December. And then after I open those, I take those 24, save them until February. And in February, I do my birthday blanket, which my birthday is February 24th. So I do 1 square a day on my birthday blanket using the yarn from my Advent. And I just love how that works out. And it's really fun for me to, like, it's a fun way of experiencing the yarn, like full circle. And it helps me not to hold a bunch of things, in my stash. So yeah, I will be talking about my birthday blanket in a little bit though. It's not done, which is why it's not in finished objects. Anywho, the last finished object that I have that I don't have with me is my Mr. Grinch hat. So during December, I put my whole Grinch collection on display on the shelves behind me. My collection is bigger than these shelves. So what I decided to do was take a whole bunch of my Grinchy things to work and decorate in my office. So I have 3 like hanging shelves that I put up on the wall. So I had like all of my Grinchy things displayed in there as well. It was delightful. People loved it whenever they came by my office. They're like, oh my gosh, so many Grinchy things. You must be a fan. That's to put it lightly, my darling. But when, in January, I decided like, okay, now it's time to start taking down the Grinchy things, I guess. So I started taking things down, but I have one of my Grinches. I was like, I don't want to take all my Grinch stuff down. So I left 2 of my stuffed Grinches up in my office. And one of them is holding a big heart with a propeller on it that lights up and sings. So he's on the top shelf, like off to the side with a couple other little Grinchy trinkets. And then I have another like full body Grinch that sits on a shelf by himself. And what I've decided to do, because I'm keeping him up all year, I'm going to make him little hats for each month of the year. So February, he had this little hat, the red hat with the heart on it. And for March, he's going to have a green hat with a clover on it. And I've kind of marked out what kind of hats I want to make for each month. But I think that's going to be really cute to change his hat with each month, each holiday and season. So I'm excited about that. So my Valentine's Mr. Grinch hat is my other non-present finished object. So now I have last two finished objects to show you guys are here with me. The first is this cardigan, which would have been a perfect project for the Pisces season make-along, but I started it too soon, so it was basically done by the time the make-along started. So it is just a basic raglan crochet. Oh, can we hold it correctly, girly? Okay, there's the increase there. Okay, so you can see the raglan shaping right here. So just a simple raglan cardigan. I did this yarn. Joann's be getting me when they just have random sales. But this yarn is Big Twist Party, and I just loved the color. I love this aqua color, and then it has like little spots of neon green in it. That's just really, really cool. So if you can hear that, one of the dogs is barking in their sleep. When I found this yarn, I was like, I have to make something out of it. I just want to be like snuggled up in it. I kind of just started freestyling it. So as you can see, I've got like, I've got an eyelet pattern that goes down the front and around the back of the cardigan, and these really wide sleeves that don't have cuffs. I had a vision of a loose gauge, like comfy cardigan that I can just throw on and just be, you know, like airy and comfortable. That's the vibe that I was going for with this. And I think I nailed it. I did do some really interesting sweater surgery on it. I think I recorded a clip, so I will put the clip in here talking about the sweater surgery. Hi friends, I'm recording this because I don't know when I'm going to film a podcast, and the shenanigans I'm about to get up to should probably be recorded. So I am working on this cardigan. The problem with freestyling is my measurements were very, very not precise. So I overestimated the measurement from here to here, like from the top of my shoulder to my armpit, where like this the sleeve separation should be. And I made it, I think, 3 inches lower than I wanted it to be. And then, but I didn't realize it at the time. So I went ahead and finished the body and finished the sleeves. And then when I tried it on, the neckline was too wide. So to fix that, I was like, oh, I'll just crochet from the cast on chain, the foundation chain up, which would have been fine, except doing that increased this measurement even more. So the sleeve separation ended up being down by my elbows. And so I was just like, I don't really like that. Let's figure this out. So I ripped out my additional rows and then put it on to try to figure out how I can bring it up. So this is what I did. So this is my original foundation row. And what I did, I put it on and then I kind of pulled it up to see where I would want the new beginning to be. So I end up taking about 4 rows out. And to do that, I, let's see if you can see it. Hello? Where's the best angle to show you? Okay. So this is my pickup row, and I basically crocheted into the bottom of each of these stitches. So I basically did a decrease and crochet 2 of them together. So these are 2 of the stitches of the original body. And then this is a new row that I'm picking up. So I did that all the way across. And when I try it on, it sits better. And now the only thing that I have to do is cut off all of this extra. Now, I understand that crochet frogs in one direction consistently. So if I cut off, okay, so these 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the ones that are going. If I cut in the middle of, we're going to back it up to row 3 because I'm scared. If I cut in the middle of row 3, then I'll be able to pick out pick out the stitches up until the ones that I picked up. And since crochet is built 1 stitch at a time, I should be able to pick out all of the stitches since all of my active row has been crocheted by those, like my decrease row. It should work. And even though I know this, like I feel like my explanation is not making a lot of sense, but I mean, in my head it works. But I'm scared, y'all. So you guys are going to be here with me. All right. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? It fall apart? And then I could just sew it on a sewing machine or like put a piece of fabric around the collar or something like that if it's an epic fail, which it shouldn't be because I've already picked up the stitches. Okay. Shenanigans. These are shenanigans, Kalisha. Okay, let's make sure we cut the right ones. All right, so these are secured. These are not. If I cut this stitch, those stitches are into that one, but these are holding those. I'm gonna cut in the middle of row 3. Well, there's no turning back now. We in it. We in there like swimwear. That, oh my goodness, like that was adventure. I have one full ball that I wound on my ball winder. Let's see what happens. And like what I was saying before about crochet only frogging consistently one direction, like, okay, so I've pulled out, I cut in the middle of row 3, and right now I'm just pulling out the remnants of row 3, and you can see that it leaves row 4 just kind of dangling here. So if I wanted to, I guess I could have cut the crochet, pulled out all the extras, and then just put like a lifeline through those they're not even really active, through those loops. And let's see what happens if we just pull them. Yeah. Okay, cool. So if you pull just the loops, it knots itself. So it works its way down into a knot. Okay. It's working, friends. So excited. See, I love when I can do stuff like this because it makes me feel like even more of like a maker or like a crafter. Like when you have like utter control, like complete control over your work, like to be able to make something, realize it's not the way that you wanted it to be, and then be able to problem solve through the things that you can do to bring that existing item up to where you want it to be. And even if you're not like 100% sure of the the method that you're going about to fix whatever the thing is, knowing the mechanics and knowing the structure of your work and how it works, how it is made, like the flexibility that offers you is just amazing. So I'm going to pick out all of my little bits and then I'll show you the finished edit. So yeah, I cut my crochet and it was a wild ride, but we did it. It's secure and I've worn this multiple times as like a throw-on jacket to go out of the house to like run errands and stuff. So I really like it. I really like the yarn. I have not put this through the laundry yet, but I imagine that when I do put it in the laundry, it's going to come out like fluffier because it's not a super tightly plied yarn. And even with just the couple times I've worn it, yeah, you can see that. You can see that halo. That is from my hair rubbing on it, all of that halo. So it's gonna come out more fluffy, and I think it's just going to get better with age, right? I think my favorite thing on here are the sleeves because I wanted them to be long and wide and billowy, and your girl nailed it. Thumbs up to me. So that's my last fibery finished object. My next and final finished objects are Papercraft. So one of the things that I wanted to get back into doing was taking classes at in my local library system. And I think that we're really blessed to have a library system that really tries to put different classes out, that has a lot of equipment and things you can learn and like labs and stuff, like hands-on DIY, things like that. And I was flipping through, going through their list of classes, and I found a paper quilling class. Now, I'd never done this before. I'd seen it in the stores and I'd seen it online and always thought it would be super hard. Fun fact, it was not hard at all. So I took a class a couple weeks ago, and this is the card that we made in class. So we learned how to make all the different quilled shapes and things. And yeah, I had a really good time doing that. And when I was in the class, working on it, I just kept thinking to myself, I'm going straight to Joann or Michael's or wherever to buy supplies for this. go straight there, do not pass go, do not collect 200, like report immediately to the craft store. And I did. I bought the quilling tool, and I didn't buy like the quilling papers or anything because I found them less expensive online. So I went ahead and ordered a set on Amazon, and I made this. This is actually my second project that I did. That same night I got home and I like hand cut strips of paper so that I could make something. I made this. This is my actual second piece, like second ever quilled piece, and this is my third quilled piece. So this is a vase with tulips in it, and I don't know what these random little pink flowers are, but there they are. So I did this to be a birthday card for my mom. So like I said, our birthday was last week and it's still here with me. I called her, I FaceTimed her, and I was like, look, it's your birthday card, and she loved it. And I told her she's probably not going to get it until March because I am absolute garbage when it comes to mailing things out, which is why it's still here with me. But I think I did a really, really good job with this. You can't see, but I thought I was being, well, you can see a little bit of the glimmer in here above the white pieces. I thought I was being like artsy, and I put a whole bunch of the glue like in there so that when it dried it would look like water, because this is meant to be like the water in the vase and then the flowers are sitting down in it. I mean, it was nice in theory, but I don't think the actual application came out the way I wanted it to. But I'm very proud of this. Eventually it will be sent to my mom and I will ask her to put it on the refrigerator. But those are all of our finished objects. And yes, and we will go on to works in progress. So, my works in progress, I have 2 sock works in progress, 1 blanket, and 1 cardigan. Okay, so here's one of my sock whips. I started this as a birthday sock. This yarn is Patton's Croy socks in the colorway Northern Lights. It's giving February baby. I am doing, what is this, 2.5? Is this the 2.5? Hold on. Yes, I'm working this on a 2.5 millimeter needle, and I believe this is 60 stitches. My normal sock recipe is the 2.25 millimeter and 64 stitches, but the reason for the bigger needle and the less amount of stitches is because Pattern Croy is a thicker fingering weight sock yarn. So now I always buy in sets of 2 whenever I buy Patton's Croy, because 1 ball of yarn will give me like a good length sock, right? I don't know what I did with the second ball of this yarn. I don't know. And it's upsetting because they were both right there. Like you can see the space where there were 2 balls of yarn right there. It was these. They were there. I don't know. So I'm just slowly knitting through the first ball, like I don't know what's gonna happen. But there's that. So this is gonna be living on my needles probably for a really long time. And it is what it is. My other sock yarn or sock project is the same type of yarn, Patton's Croy socks, and this is colorway 50s stripe. So here's the first sock. I did I do this toe up or cuff down? I did this cuff down, and I just knit a tube because I'm going to go back and do an afterthought heel. At least that's the plan. I've never knit myself tube socks, so this might end up being a tube sock because this sock was on my needles for at least 8 months, maybe even more than that, because this was my work sock for a while, so it just lived in my desk drawer. But, ooh, child, this is as far as I've gotten on the second sock. And I'm only this far because I brought this with me to a work meeting or something like that and was knitting there. When I got home from that meeting, I put it down. I have not touched it again. So I need to put this somewhere where it will actually get worked on. So there's that. So those are my 2 pair of socks that I have going. I feel like those are going to go slowly because they're not particularly exciting. But I do have some travel coming up, so I might throw those in the bag as travel projects. So those are my socks. My birthday blanket is 3 years old right now, and I think it's done. So, or like done, like I'm not going to work on this same birthday blanket next year. So my idea for the birthday blanket is each year I would do a different square pattern. This year I started out with a pattern from one of my crochet books, but when I made it, it was kind of more fiddly than I wanted it to be. I wanted something that I could just pick up and work on and not put a whole lot of thought into, not have to do a whole lot of counting, etc. So I basically ended up writing a pattern for my birthday square. So this is my birthday square, and I really, really like the way it came out. So I have completed all of the actual squares for my birthday blanket. So all 24 squares are on the blanket. And then what I did because of the way I have the blanket set up, I did the squares on the because of the way the blanket is set up, when I attached the squares, the corners were still open. And I had basically the space for 3 squares in each corner. Each one of my birthday squares didn't use the whole 20 grams of yarn, so I had leftovers. So I ended up just tying those together and making traditional granny squares using those leftovers, and I put those in each like corner. So now I'm left with the 4 like furthest corners to fill in, and I think I'm going to do another like regular traditional grannies in those corners. And I'm just trying to decide what yarn I want to use for that, because whichever yarn that I put in those ultimate corners is going to also be the final border around the blanket to finish it off. When all is said and done, this blanket will be about the size of the top of a queen size bed. And I'm happy with that. It's a good snuggly size. I like it. Thumbs up. I just have to figure out what color I want those final 4 squares to be. It's interesting to see not interesting, but it's nice to see the difference in the squares. So I know like the center, these squares are from my birthday in 2022, and then my birthday 2023, and then my birthday 2024. But yeah, birthday blanket. It's an ongoing project that I really enjoyed. And as someone who doesn't really make blankets a whole lot, it's nice to have blankets that I've made that tell stories. So really the only blankets that I have right now are my birthday blanket, my Crochet Memories blanket, my Kiva blanket, and those are it. Those are really like the crochet blankets that I use and that are in my space a lot. Let's see. Okay, and my last work in progress is actually right here. This is my project, my main project for the Pisces season make along. And this is a stack of granny squares that I've made using the Red Heart Granny Square all-in-one yarn. So that yarn is dyed to create a granny square where you don't have to weave in any ends or anything like that. I've watched a lot of people review this yarn, and it's kind of funny to me. Like, I called my mom and I told her that this has been kind of a Christ object lesson for me. Like, this yarn is dyed in a certain way for you to get a certain result, right? And in order for you to get that result, you have to follow the instructions as laid out by the creator of the yarn, right? So a lot of the videos that I have seen where people are reviewing the yarn and it's not working for them, and a lot of them, like a lot of the overall like final opinion of the yarn has been it's frustrating, it's stressful, it doesn't work, you know, like a lot of these things. But one thing I noticed was most of the people who are not having success with it were changing the pattern. Like, there's a certain way that they want you to do your granny square. And yes, I know that everyone has a way that they do their granny square that's like, this is how I like doing granny squares, right? But the makers of the yarn requested or have designed the yarn in such a way to be used with a particular pattern of granny square, of a traditional granny square. And if you don't do what the creator said to do, then you won't get the result that the creator has set in the project. You know what I mean? So like, I was thinking about that today and I was like, wow, isn't that like, you know, humanity? Ain't that like us to be like, okay, God, I know that this is what you said to do, but I'm gonna do it my way and see what happens. And then we're upset when it doesn't come out the way that, you know, we expected it to, or we get all messed up because we didn't follow instructions. You know what I mean? So I was literally looking at my squares like, you know, God, please help me to be able to, not to be able to, but to be willing to hear your instructions when you're giving them to me, and to listen to them and to follow them. Like, help me. Because your girl be wanting to go wild style. Your girl be wanting to be out here like, no, I don't want to start my granny square like that. I want to start my granny square like this, and then be confused why the colors don't line up, and be confused as to why it looks different than it's supposed to, or I have too much yarn of this color, or too little yarn of that color. Y'all, the Lord be speaking to me in crochet, and I just think that's hilarious, but also very endearing. Like, thank you, God, for speaking to me through a medium that speaks to me, you know? But anyway, anywho, I was grateful, number one, that my natural tension is very close to the tension that is set up in the pattern. So I didn't have a whole lot of problems with getting the colors to fall where they were supposed to. I was definitely running into tension issues in my last two rounds where I would end up with not enough yarn because I was crocheting it too loosely. Meaning my natural tension was just a little bit tighter than what was called for. So I would actively loosen up, right? And when I was loosening up, I would like loosen a little bit too much. So then I would have to rip back and, you know, make those small adjustments. But when I got into the feel of the tension that I was supposed to be hitting to make these work, I was good. The only thing that I do not like about how this pattern is written is how they have you start. So they have you start with a chain 6. They have you start each round with a chain 6, and then you go into your granny square clusters. I don't like how that looks because it makes this corner like really wide, but it's fine. I did try to start the granny square with the way that I make them. You know, I tried to go my own way and it was immediately no. Like I ran out of yarn with multiple clusters before I was supposed to. So I was like, okay, I will do what you said. I will trust the pattern and I will do what you said, and hopefully I get the expected outcome, which I did. So now I forget the names of these colorways, but this is the first colorway that I got. And then this is the second colorway. So what I will be making is a cardigan, because I'm just all about cardigans these days, I guess. All right, that's not going back on. I will be alternating the blue and the purple. Actually, I have a screenshot of my plan. Here's my plan. So I'm going to be using the granny squares for the whole back and then the fronts. And then the sleeves are going to be a solid teal from my stash. And that teal is also going to be used for the bottom ribbing and the button band ribbing. I'm also going to do inseam pockets, which I've seen exactly one video about, so of course I can do it. But I mean, it should just be like making a little pocket on the inside and, you know, sewing it in like regular pants. I don't know why I never thought about doing this before, but we're going to make inseam pockets in this cardigan. And I'm really excited about it. Additionally, because I didn't have to change colors or tie in yarn or join or anything like that or weave in any ends except for the beginning end and the last end, this is the fastest. This is 20 grannies right here. This is the fastest I've ever made 20 grannies in my life, y'all. Woo! I was just burning through them. And one of the things, this definitely felt like how self-striping yarn will get you with that one more row, one more stripe. I was definitely crocheting on this. Like, let me just get to the end of this, round, because you want to make sure that you have, that your tension is right and that you actually made it. So I was burning through these like a mad woman and I really enjoyed it. I do plan to buy more of this yarn. There's a colorway that is, I think it's blues and greens and black, and I want that. So I'm currently haunting my local Joann. They said that they had some on order. So as soon as I see it pop up in the store, I'm gonna go get maybe 3 skeins of it. Each one of the skeins is built to make, I think, 12 granny squares out of what is included in it. So yeah, I might get 2 or 3 skeins so that I can make one whole something out of that colorway, because I think that colorway is really pretty. Yeah, and those are all of my works in progress. Let's talk about maker plans. So the one maker plan that I have is my Mr. Grinch hat for March. It's just going to be a green. I intended it to be a top hat, but it definitely came out looking like a bucket hat. I'm not complaining. He's going to have a bucket hat then. So it's going to be, like that, basic green. And then I'm going to use like a neon green for the clover to go on his head. I have to finish it by Wednesday, because Wednesday is the next time I'm going to be in the office. So I want to switch out his hat on Wednesday. And that's all I have for maker plans. Let's talk about stash positions. So you all got a peek at, actually you have a peek of 2 of the stash positions. This is the first one. This is a crochet hook that I was given by Z, who's Zelda in our, wait, what's she called on here? In NRJ3? Z. Chances are, if you're watching my video, you know who Z is. But she sent this to me as a Christmas, did she say Christmas, Kwanzaa, and birthday gift? I think. But this hook was made by Just Handmade Designs. I'll put it on the screen. And it says Quirky Monday. It's a 5.5 millimeter hook. And it's, what's it, resin, I think? Like resin covered and glittery. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see the glitter. I love it. It's the perfect Grinchy green. And they put a little heart on it. So it is a Grinch themed crochet hook for your girl. I love it so much. I actually use it to make all of these squares. When I first got it, I thought that it was going to be like a little heavier or awkward to use, because since it is covered in the resin, it's a bit thicker than the rest of my Clover Amours. Like the Clover Amours are my favorite crochet hook, but it's not that much bigger. It's a tiny bit heavier, but not enough to actually be a thing. You know what I mean? So definitely check out Just Handmade Designs. Did I say creations earlier? I might have. Just Handmade Designs. And yeah, I really love it. This is like my first thing that says like Quirky Monday. Like I should have Quirky Monday merch. But my other stash position is right there. That is a serger, and I thrifted it from the thrift store, y'all. When I tell you, I was in that Goodwill, and it was like a Goodwill boutique. So like all of their stuff was like, why y'all pricing this stuff so high? But whatever, Goodwill boutique. And I had gone there after work one day and was just kind of like, you know, mooching around. And I saw it on the bottom shelf, like behind some stuff. And, you know, I've wanted a serger for so long. And I knew that, you know, I was like, a serger would definitely up my sewing game. It will like make it easier for me to work with stretchy fabrics and stuff like that. And so I've always wanted a serger. And I almost bought one on Facebook Marketplace, but the guy ended up selling it to another person, which I was feeling some kind of way about, because I had made the agreement to meet up with the guy after I got off work, had the money and everything, and he just ghosted me. Whatever, it's fine. But I got this guy, and I have already, you know, refreshed myself in threading it, using it. It works perfectly. It just needed a little bit of clean out because, ooh, there was so much dust in that machine. But it works. Somebody woke herself up out of her sleep. It works. I'm very excited about it. So whenever I get back into the bag making sphere, I will have this to hopefully help streamline the process, hopefully give me ways to make better quality bags, which I would love. And also like use it to make clothes, to make dresses and shirts and stuff with stretchy fabrics. And I know, yes, you can sew stretchy fabrics on a regular sewing machine. I know that. But the fact that I've wanted one of these things for years and years and years, and I've taken classes on how to use the serger, and I just wanted one of my own, and now I have one. And when I found it in the thrift store, I was like, I'm like looking around, make sure I didn't have to like throw no bows on nobody trying to get to the serger before me. I like scooped it up in my arms. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And as soon as I put it in the cart, this other lady came up to me. She was like, oh, wow. And I was like, wow yourself from over there. But she goes, there's also a sewing machine over there if you wanted to take a look. It was one of those like little children's sewing machines. So I was just like, we'll let someone else get that. But yeah, that was my big birthday present to myself. At least that's what I'm saying. But I love it. Very happy with it. Just, I couldn't be more happy. That's everything crafty. The last thing that I have is Plant Mama Life and Whatnot. I already mentioned to y'all that it was my birthday. I had, my family really likes to get together for birthdays. And our birthdays are spread evenly, well, not evenly throughout the year. January is my brother-in-law. Me and my mom are February. March is my father-in-law. April is my mother-in-law. May is my dad. Lamar is July. My brother Aaron and my other brother-in-law are September. My baby brother's in December. So we basically have a birthday every month throughout the year. So my mother-in-law likes to, plan something to do for everybody's birthday. She's like, okay, are we going out to eat? Are we getting together? Like, what are we doing? Or blah, blah, blah. So I requested a game night for my birthday. Just a game night where we come, we play games. We do not turn the TV on, just the games and like pizza. And we had so much fun. We played, we basically played Uno No Mercy for the whole night. And it was pandemonium. I loved it. They had absolutely no mercy on your girl, even though it was my birthday. This is how many cards I ended up with at one point. That's 24 cards. You're automatically out of the game if you hit 25. It's fine. It's fine. We had a lot of fun. So, yeah, that was a high point in life and whatnot. On the Plant Mama side, I have a lot of reviving and refreshing to do with my plants. They're starting to wake up for the spring, which is making me incredibly happy. I repotted my Monstera, whose name is Monster because she's huge. She was living in the biggest pot that I could get from the store, which was like a 22 or 24 inch pot. And she was bursting out of it. Like the whole pot was basically roots. So I didn't want to plant her in the ground because I still want to be able to move her. So I went on the hunt to find something larger than a 22 to 24 inch pot, which ended up being a trash can. So I cut the top like 6 inches off of one of those big black plastic trash cans, drilled holes in the bottom, and potted her in there. It does still look like a trash can. So what I want to do is at one point I'm going to go out there and paint on it. I was thinking about doing like mud cloth designs around it because I think that will look really cool. But she's working on 2 new leaves right now. And I just feel like with the additional space, the new fresh soil, that she's going to be able to like really throw her energy into putting out lots of beautifully fenestrated leaves. And I cannot wait. Yeah, that's really it. The last little thing in life and whatnot, earlier I mentioned that I have some travel coming up. That is because I'm going to be a chaperone. So Lamar is taking his African American history class on an HBCU tour. And that's historically Black colleges and universities. He's going to take the students, it's going to be during their spring break, which is next week. It starts next week and goes through the following week. And we're visiting schools in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and South Carolina. So it's a really big trip. We'll be visiting the schools as well as historical landmarks, museums, different things like that. And I'm really proud of him for putting this together and getting it all organized and everything. All of his students, he told me yesterday, all of his students are 100% funded except for one. So if you would like to donate to help this student to reach her funding amount to go on this trip, you can use this QR code. There's also a link in the down bar to donate to that trip. He said to put, I guess there's a place where you can put notes. Put coming from Quirky Monday, and he'll know to assign it to that student, I guess. Because, of course, we can't put the student's name out there, but put coming from Quirky Monday, so he'll know to assign that money to that student. And then if you guys are feeling super generous and we gather more money than needed for that one student, anything additional will go into the pot for next year. So I know that last year, some of you donated to the trip from last year, but unfortunately, we weren't able to go on the trip. So all of those donations stayed in the account and are being used this year for to help pay for the bus and the lodging and food and all of that stuff. But yeah, so that is everything we have filmed. I am happy to be done. The sun is now blinding me. And yeah, so thanks so much for being here today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for still being here after me going ghost for 2 months. I don't know how often I'm going to film, but I know that I'm going to film. I love doing this, but I'm trying to cultivate a space within myself that allows me to not bash myself when I'm not consistent in things. I don't want to make myself feel guilty about not filming every week or every other week, or not being able to stick to that routine. So I want to I want to feel good when I do this. So I'm gonna be here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of my universe. Let me know the good things that have happened to you over the last couple months. How has 2024 been treating you so far? I hope it's been treating you well. And if it hasn't, tell it to go out and try again. I've had a couple weeks where, woo lordy. But, I'm grateful that I'm still able to have good days. I'm grateful that I am currently feeling good. I know that sometimes when I have, downswings, or I'm not up, I'm not feeling good, I'm not feeling happy, I'm feeling rather dark, it is hard to remind myself and believe myself when I say, this, what you're feeling is not going to be forever. This that you're going through is not going to be forever. This is, as with all things in life, a transitory moment. You may feel terrible right now, but it's not going to be forever. And sometimes it's hard to remember those things, and sometimes it's hard to accept those statements as truth and as fact, but they are true. They are fact that every moment is just that. It's a moment. It's a feeling. It's not forever, whether that be a good moment or a bad moment. If you're feeling full of joy, acknowledge the fact that that joy is not forever and relish it that much more while you have it, right? If you're feeling lost and dark, acknowledge the fact that that feeling is not forever, and at some point you will feel light again. You know, you won't feel so lost. And that's the thing that I keep coming back to, is that everything changes and everything can change. Everything has the ability to change. So if your 2024 has not been acting right, give it a chance to change. Hold on until it changes, because it will. Everything that swings down will swing back up. It's science. And the trick is to not let go. So, again, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for being friends. And thank you for being a part of my universe. Bye, friends.